it's not good to win the argument and lose the case. You must win the argument and win the case also.
It is an honor to have Senior Advocate Vivek Sood with us today. To begin with, sir, we've read about your incredible journey in the field of litigation, and you've also authored various books. And since you say, and you are a third generation lawyer, your grandfather was a leading lawyer in Lahore before partition, and your father was also a leading tax lawyer in Punjab, I believe. So, would you say that they have been your mentors right from childhood and they have played a role in shaping you as an individual that you are both professionally and personally?
That's a very interesting question. Nobody's asked me this aspect of my life. And yes, my grandfather and my father, they have played the roles of mentors in my life. And when I go back, my grandfather passed away when I was in my first year of law. But I've seen him practice in his 80s and 90s. And what I learned from him was his willpower and strength. That's what he gave me. He was a very strong-headed man. And in spite of so many personal tragedies in his life, he stood tall. And as a lawyer, why I say he was very strong was, he was also a property owner. He had lots of properties in Hoshiarpur. After partition, he came to a small town called Hoshiarpur in Punjab, where he started his practice all over again. And, he would take his cycle and he would take his munshi on his cycle and they would take a pile of files. And district Hoshiarpur had various smaller courts. The district was large and they had smaller courts like Una and some other places. And on their cycle, they would go from court to court and he would argue his cases. And, being a litigant himself, being a landowner himself, he would have these clauses in his lease deeds which said that you will not put eggs in your shop. You will not sell meat and chicken in your shop. And if there was a violation of that clause, he would be very trigger happy and he would not hesitate in becoming a plaintiff or, an applicant. So, at a personal level also, he was very strong-willed. And as a lawyer also, he would never give up with the judge. Now, I've seen his notes, the way he prepared his notes, in his 80s, when he was 85 plus also. His notes, his hands were shaking, but his notes, he would, go into Privy Council judgments, he would take out all the case law, make his notes. And, so that's what I gained from him, that his strength and his willpower.
Also, I'm sure, there are two sides to having your family members as your mentors because you might not always be, very open to discussing your failures with them, as they're your parents and also some extent of your personal life. So, how would you describe, them as your mentors and what role have they played in your life?
My father belongs to the modern world. And, he was in many ways just the opposite of my grandfather. For example, my father packed me off to Mayo College, Ajmer, in class 3. So I was very fond of, the non-vegetarian food and the eggs and all. Because I was influenced by my mother's side. My Nana and all belong to a royal family of Behraich and Taran Taran. So they were the hunters. So, I loved that kind of cuisine. because my grandfather wrote to the principal that, the principal of Mayo College must ensure that I sit on the vegetarian table and I am not served any meat or chicken or eggs. But my father wrote, in rebuttal, he wrote a letter to the principal overruling my grandfather's view. So my father was a very modern man. He let us do whatever we wanted to do in life. Whoever we wanted to marry, whatever we wanted to study. So he let us be what, we are today. And my father also taught me, to be polite, to be diplomatic, to be politically correct in the court. And so I've got this blend, of aggression from my grandfather and the softness from my father. So I think that's what I manifest, in the court. So my father and my grandfather have played, immense roles as mentors. Of course, professionally, I have come up on my own because, my grandfather practiced in Lahore and Hoshiarpur. My father practiced in Ludhiana and Chandigarh.
Okay.
And I started my practice in Delhi. So I have not really, got a legacy. I have not got 100, 200, 300 files on the table and just to carry on with that. So I've started from scratch. Of course, my father provided me with the infrastructure and my grandfather provided my father with the infrastructure. So, they've given me a beautiful home, a nice office. They've given me that start, that head start, which a lawyer needs. So I am ever grateful to them. But professionally, in terms of building up the law practice, I am proud to say that I have made it on my own.
Great. And so besides them, whom do you consider to be your mentor, and what would your journey be like had it not been for that one person or multiple people?
The mentor in my life, in my professional journey, has been, Mr. Ram Jethmalani.
Okay.
And because I have gone to him on several occasions. I was never his junior. I was never a junior in his chamber. But whenever, as a young lawyer, I had a problem, I had some legal issue to discuss, I would visit him or get hold of him whenever he would come to the court. Very generous man. And, I was a young junior, a young lawyer, and he was a stalwart. He had conquered the Mount Everest on 100 occasions, and I was just beginning my journey to the base camp. So whenever I went to him, he heard me very patiently, and then he would answer my queries. And, in the Jessica Lal matter, he was appearing for Mr. Manu Sharma.
Okay.
And I was appearing for Mr. Raja Chopra.
Okay.
Mr. Raja Chopra was the accused who was charged with harboring the main accused by providing his car to Manu Sharma to flee to Chandigarh from Delhi. That was the allegation against him.
Okay.
So as a strategy, he was advised not to hire the same counsel as that of Mr. Manu Sharma. So he hired, a young lawyer, Vivek Sood. So that's when I got to interact with Mr. Jethmalani. Okay. And, he would, all the cameras would be on him and he loved his limelight. He loved playing to the gallery. And he was a master of criminal law. Master. He was the ultimate master of criminal law. So, I got to observe him. I got to observe his demeanor, his courtcraft, his knowledge of law, his humor, his art of advocacy. So all that, because the hearing went on for months. Since I was representing one of the accused. And, I still recall an incident that there were about 7 or 8 accused, and each accused had, his set of lawyers. For example, Mr. Ayub Khan was representing one of the accused. Pandit Naseem was representing another accused. Mr. Jethmalani, of course, was there leading the brief. So, when my turn came, all these stalwarts were there between myself and the judge. So Mr. Jethmalani was one who told the people around him to make way for this young man to come forward and argue the brief. So I can't forget this gesture, and my observing him. Whenever I went to him, he answered my query. For example, I remember, there was a very interesting matter I was doing, where a Delhi police officer had been booked in the Telgi scam.
Okay.
So the CBI called him, and the CBI called him and said that, see, these are your contacts. You call up these contacts and get Telgi arrested. So, on the request of the CBI officers, he called up those contacts in the underworld. And then that conversation was recorded by CBI, and he was made an accused that you have contacts with the underworld and you are connected with the fake stamp scam, etc. And they implicated him in a criminal case. Now, charges were framed, and we filed a revision before the High Court against the order on charge. Now, I wanted to argue, what should I argue in the High Court? So I went up to Mr. Jethmalani and I said, these are the facts, and what should be my argument? And that conversation did have a lot of incriminating material in that conversation. So, he paused, he thought, and then he said to me that you should argue that the mens rea is missing. It is at your instance that I am calling up those people, my contacts in the underworld. And the purpose is to get Telgi arrested. So the mens rea of criminality is missing. I will say so many things in that conversation that will be incriminating. I am like a trapped witness. I am trying to trap those people in the underworld. A decoy customer can never be an accused. So this was his sheer brilliance, So I consider him to be my mentor. He was a one-man army. He loved to be in the eye of the storm. He loved to take up the most controversial cases, of his times. He never bothered about the establishment. Even when he became a minister, he stood his ground. He never, bowed, or he never got bogged down by even the prime minister. He could make allegations against anybody on this planet, including Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh. So he was the stalwart I look upon, and I consider him to be my greatest and the only mentor in my professional life.
Yes, sir. So there was such interesting anecdote, and I think litigation is one field where you get to explore so much like this, and that is one reason people consider other fields to be bland, and and people who don't get into litigation, don't venture into this field, are kind of left devoid of these interesting things in courtrooms and all.